Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showcasing the OP Guardian build I shared with you the last video. So, what do we have here? Let's start with traits and equipment. When it comes to equipment, we're using the longbow, of course, as a main weapon, so we're running 5% extra damage, that affects traps also, and Sigil of Air to get that extra damage off of crits. Our secondary weapons are a scepter and a focus, equipped with hydromancy and sigil of leeching. We compare that off with berserker amulet, of course, and rune of the scholar, just in order to snipe people away for more damage. We don't actually care about the traps that much because they do overkill damage. You'll see soon enough. When it comes to specializations, I like to run, of course, Dragonhunter with Big Game Hunter, Zealot's Aggression, and Person Like for the traps. And then I like to use a combination of Valor and Virtues. Virtues in order to improve your new virtues, which of course we'll talk about soon enough. And here we have a better Virtue of Justice, with more burns, to have a bit of condition damage, and more damage under the effects of Aegis. This is very important, because you'll have permanent Aegis, more or less, if you do not engage into fights, in the sense that you stay at a distance, which happens a lot, because you'll be sniping people off with your shortbow, longbow, sorry. And once it wears off, you have your traps to defend yourself, so you don't really need anything else. You have a permanent 20% damage increase. That's a lot. Plus, if your traps are well positioned, you can trap someone and do 20% extra damage off your traps if you have Aegis on, which you can of course put on with your Shield of Courage. Now, when it comes to Valor, I like to run Focus Mastery, Communal Defenses, and Retributive Armor. Why? Well, this gives me a bit of extra toughness when you block an attack, which happens a lot with your Focus skill number 5. Here you get a bit of Aegis also when you block an attack, and of course a bit of protection and better focus abilities. So, let's hop onto some damage. Here we have our heavy golem. Our main tool of attacks will be auto attacks and true shard, skill number 2. So, that wasn't a crit, but you'll see the cooldown is extremely fast, because you just keep popping. If you feel confident enough, you can of course use your skill number 4, the Symbol of Energy, in order to burn people in an area. It also does decent base damage. This is for reflecting other projectiles. It also deals a decent amount of damage. The good thing about this skill is, just imagine a ranger is attacking you, you can just throw this at him and it will stop their shots. Let's see a bit more of that damage. 7k crit, good enough. Okay, on the AoE side of things, a nifty little trick you can do is use your skill number 5 on a group of people. The damage is a bit low, but you'll trap them inside of these boxes and they cannot get out. This is why this skill is pretty much OP if you pair it with your sigil. So once they're trapped inside those boxes, you can burn them alive. Going back to damage dealing, of course you have to use your Spear of Justice. You have a 10% extra damage when an enemy is speared. Let's see if we can get a crit. There we go. It went from about 8k to 9k, so 10%. Now for the important part, traps. You have to run these. Why? Well, of course the elite trap that does the most damage and gives you might. This one is the one that does a whirl and deals increased damage. And we are using the Test of Faith in order to cripple our enemies so that they cannot get out so easily, and just in case our elite trap is off cooldown, and our Light's Judgment trap in order to inflict 10 stacks of vulnerability. That's a lot. So let me position those here. Whoops. And let's see what happens when the golem goes through. insta kill. Pretty OP. Plus, if you use your elite trap, they can't get out of the dragon spawns. Also, if someone is getting out, you can use always your focus skill in order to immobilize them, and of course use skill number 2 on them. If you get caught off guard, that's the other important aspect of my build. You have a lot of blocks. You can use your Shelter skill, your Shield of Wrath, and your Shield of Courage. All those 3 abilities are vital to your survival because you're running a Berserker build and you're going to get hit a lot. This of course makes you immune to all damage and grants you Aegis again. This grants you 1 stack of Aegis and allows you to block incoming attacks, and this should be used always if you have low HP. 2 more important aspects of this build is the following. Remember to use your spear effectively. You can use it 2 times, the second one in order to CC enemies. This can also block stomps. And of course, use your Wings of Resolve. This gives you a nice mobility and a big heal.